This insight into manifestation, I believe, will completely transform your life. And it relates to if we put too much effort or have too little faith or confidence, it has a tendency to kill the vibrational momentum in our manifesting. And how everything is already existing in the quantum field. The future version of you already exists. So connecting to that future version of you, it would be natural for you to have that thing. See, recently, I've been talking about this in some of the recent videos, I noticed that the changes and transformations that have started to occur from going from van life to moving into my own space, going from delivering food for people to starting my own online coaching. These shifts have started to occur as it has become more natural for me. And one technique that Neville Goddard shared with the law of assumption teachings that I believe is really powerful for this is to look back. It's like you're connecting to that future self, looking back at your present moment and saying, remember when. So remember when I was struggling financially and feeling just gratitude for it. Remember when, for me, I'm building the channel. Remember when I was struggling to get views on YouTube. Because even now it's like I'll look at the views and these old feelings will start to come up. And this is really the secret. And I know this channel is inevitably going to grow exponentially. At the same time, it's like when you're looking at the evidence, like I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the numbers, or say you're having doubts coming up, wondering when it's going to happen. This is the ancient secret, right? This is the wisdom of the ages that they're trying to tell us is to turn your attention away from the sense evidence. To go within yourself, turn your attention inward and turn off giving all of your attention to the evidence of what's occurring, because the evidence of what's occurring is really the past. See, the present is an emanation of the past, and that the version of the present that we're living in becomes the future. So when we're connecting with a different parallel reality or a different timeline, and we're shifting into that version of ourselves, when we connect with that future, and I've experienced this in the past as well, it was more in a magical, synchronistic way, where I experienced that when you're connecting with different versions of yourself, it kind of transfers you to that reality, that more magical, more synchronistic, more abundant reality, right? And what I'm trying to say is that when we're connecting to the vibration of that future self, the future self already exists. So our present self is actually in the past. So when we're assuming, oh wow, thank you so much. I remember when I didn't have a place to live. I remember when I didn't have any money. I remember when I wasn't doing what I love. I am so thankful that I am now. See, because to the future version of you, your present is the past. So your present becomes the future, but if you're only hoping and you're only wishing for things to change, that's like staying in the asking. That's why the prayer equation is two aspects: ask and it is given. Anytime you point your awareness on a problem, you turn your awareness towards the solution already exists vibrationally. Anytime you have a question, asking, you turn your awareness vibrationally towards the answer, and Source gives you the answer. Now that requires trust, faith, surrender, and being open to infinite intelligence. But most people stay, like, here's about how much you should stay in asking, and here's about how much it would be helpful to stay in receiving the answer, or the given aspect of it. focusing on the solution. Most people are here. They're focusing on the problem. They're asking. That's why people think that there's this external God that they're begging or hoping or praying that things are going to change. But prayer technology, like what Joseph Murphy or Neville Goddard taught, is about assuming the feeling state of your wish already being fulfilled, of the answer to your prayer already happening. You're communing with that version of you. But if you just stay in the asking, hoping, wishing, then you're going to get to the future and you're going to be asking and hoping and wishing, because that's the version of you that you're embodying in the present. And there are shifts that can occur right now. And this is why it all comes back to, if we have too much effort or too little confidence, that has to do with our level of faith. Because when we're not pushing it, when we're not efforting too much, because efforting has a kind of struggle vibration to it, or if we're doubting it or we're not completely confident, that's different than it would be natural for me. So that's why I say, of course this is happening. Of course I am abundant. Because as soon as I started making that shift, I noticed shifts in my timeline started to occur. A beautiful place to live in, started to get clients to work with, started to grow more, and started to have more inspired ideas, starting to have more opportunities coming in. And then I noticed even in the same time frame, it's like when I would start going into doubts or ruminating on the past. This is why this is like the old quote, right? In order to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must forgive everyone, right? Because those resentments, they build up and they block our access. So I started clearing, I started forgiving, I started letting go of striving too much. I started out of the doubt. But when I was in that state for a little while, I started noticing things started getting harder. Things started feeling more closed down. I started going into old habits. And then I would go in and I would clear. So I feel like this is where meditation, tuning into the receiving mode, really building that faith and momentum, and also clearing our consciousness, clearing the patterns, integrating the shadow, whatever you want to call it, and then also activating that version, stepping into the inspired action. This is where I also feel the embodiment practices of being in your own frame puts you into the flow state. It balances the masculine and feminine within you. So that's where I take it a little bit of another angle than all of the teachings. I like to share the things that I learn and that are helping me in my life, but ultimately that's more the direction. I go more into the energy and the life force cultivation, because I believe as you cultivate that embodied energy, you're changing your vibrational cellular structure. You're activating the divine genome, and that does put you on your highest timeline. So then as we connect into that vision, then it's like you giving yourself the permission, and you're saying, of course. So like every time something happens that is a sense evidence that things haven't changed yet, just say, I remember when it was like this, and just feel grateful that it's already happening. Or another thing to do is that as you're going about your day, it's like as those doubts, as those old thought patterns come up, come back to the affirmation. Come back to source supplies everything I need. There's a divine surplus in my life. I am so happy and grateful. I am divinely expressed. And, divine source is inexhaustible, infinite, and ever-flowing in my life. So all my needs are met at every point of time and space. And coming into that place where it's like you're wiring that into the nervous system to be more relaxed and to be more consistently in the flow. Because that's how we're building that wiring internally of that faith. And faith is really confidence in the workings of consciousness. And being able to build that is like each time something small happens, it's like, okay, I'm going to celebrate that. I'm going to feel the gratitude. I'm going to appreciate. Because as you appreciate it, it grows that momentum. So if you guys want to check out the meditation for merging with your future self that I've made, I'll include that. And also I've created a course called Frame to Flow that is essentially has a series of master classes and recorded meditations, as well as some journaling practices to help you get solid in your own frame and your own energy and allow the flow of your creative expression and gifts and focusing your manifestation to come through more consistently as you cultivate the life force, clear through the patterns and all that. So I'll include a link to that below. And thank you guys. I am so happy and grateful to see this channel continue to grow and all your wonderful comments. Thank you for being here. Please hit the thumbs up to help send it out into the universe, and leave a comment of maybe something that inspired you on this video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you and many blessings.